Hello everyone, welcome to my Lab 4 video lab report. In this lab, we will examine the motion of a spring mass system in which the mass swings in an arc while oscillating on a spring. I used Tracker to create an observational model. I also created a computational model based on the observed data, compared the results, and found the period of oscillation. The fundamental principles that I used in this lab were Hooke's law, Newton's second law, the energy principle, and more specifically kinetic energy, spring potential energy, and gravitational potential energy. So for my tracker observation, I went through and set the initial conditions of the proper length of the spring and collected data points as the spring moves the mass around. And here are those data points showing up here, and this is time versus the x direction. And then I took the points that I collected from Tracker and created a computational model. This computational model uses data in a CSV file, reads that data, and calculates the change in energy versus time graph, and then it also pulls up the position versus time for the model versus experimental data. And as you can see, when comparing the model data in the blue to the experimental data in the red, there are a few instances where the red does not line up super well, and I think that's just due to human error and when I picked the center of the mass point on Tracker. Um, and in this program, how we got it to work is incorporating Newton's second law or the energy principles um, down here to calculate the energy, and also using the momentum principle up here, um, and plugging in those formulas to read the input values in order to create the output graphs. So basically, what does this mean? Well, what can we learn from this? So for your model system, is the energy principle satisfied? And justify your answers by discussing briefly your plots of energy changes. So yes, the energy principle is satisfied because delta E does not change, and this means energy principle is satisfied, and the total energy is 0 for the system. You can see where delta E stays at 0 and does not change and is stays the same. So that means that the energy principle is satisfied. Awesome. Next up, it says using the data you obtained in Tracker, make two separate estimates for the oscillation periods. First, by estimating the period of oscillation from the x position data, and by estimating the period of oscillation from the y position data, and compare your two estimates and discuss. So here are my two estimates, and basically the T for this is a lot, or not, it's barely smaller in the Y position than it is in the X position, meaning it oscillates faster in the Y position than it does in the X position. So thank you for watching my lab.